Okay, just getting set up here. Alright, I think we just got one on the super chat from Melissa as well. Melissa Lawrence. Indigo Williams. Indigo Williams. Well, well, well. It's been a while. Yes, sure. Let's have a look. Okie dokie. Let's see. Gosh, I can only take one more. Okay, you'll donate direct. Okay, let's just put it up there. Oh, look who just showed up. Hold on. Hi, Bubba. Okay, that's it. I can't really take any more. Oddly enough, my voice is still fragile from the what you call it, the still fragile from the really bad sinus things I had the other day, a few weeks ago. Hi, Bubba. Bubba's decided he wants to take over the show. That's it, folks. That's just how it is. All right, Bubba. My gosh, you're such a wonderful little creature. Alright. How on earth do you run a show when you have a cat like this? And he's shedding as well because it's summertime's coming in and he's losing his window up. You end up there. Well, we can easily rearrange that, Jeffrey. Don't you worry. No. How about that? Wait a minute, there's one over here as well. Alright, so that's it. I'm not sure what to tell you about this cat, but he's right here. He's being extremely, let's say, I don't know what the word is, needy or affectionate or something like that. Anyway, let me just say hi over here. Maybe we'll see. Let's see. Let me see if I can do this. Look, I don't know if that's working. Can you actually see little Bubba there? It might be very weird on the lighting, but there he is. He's decided that the show needs to be all about him today. Here we are. Smile at the camera. Well, you don't even know there's a camera there, do you, Bubba? All right. Here we go. Let's get back to work, folks. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for your generosity, everybody. Unless you don't care. Oh, you don't care. Well, I'm very, very sensitive, Jeffrey, as you know. I'm a tarot reader and I do astrology, and I'm super hypersensitive. And I take everybody at their word. So I thought you were offended, and I made adjustments accordingly. Precious moments. Yeah, I'll take care of that. Don't you worry, Precious. Precious, we got this, okay? That's it. I can't take any more, everybody. There we go. So, what's the plan, Bubba? You gonna let me do the show? Probably not. All right, he's got other ideas. All right, I have to keep adjusting the cameras and the staging and everything, but that's okay. It's funny, Precious Moments is here. She's up in Canada at Edmonton, and it's still pretty chilly up there, I believe. And there's another town, I don't know, probably about 1,000 miles east from her, and they just got overrun by ice. Of course, they're up by Hudson Bay and so on. But so, you know, it's a bit scary. Like right here in Las Vegas right now, it's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's crazy. Explain all of that. Anyway, so here's a little doodle. I don't know if you can see this, folks, but this is sort of an illustration about how the full moon lunar eclipse works. There's the sun shining brightly like it always does, and there's Earth whizzing around all the way around. You know, it does this sort of stuff around the planets. It whizzes. All right, Bubba, you have to. All right, thanks, Bubba. We'll see you later. So it's doing its thing, okay? And at the same time, the moon is doing its thing, you know? And the full moon lunar eclipse is when the moon is eclipsed by the Earth. Eclipsed means sort of blocked out and removed and sort of set off to the side. So there's the moon. Right now the moon is in Scorpio. Again, I'm not a professional astronomer, so I don't know where to point up in the sky exactly, but the moon is in Scorpio, and the sun is opposing over in the sign of Taurus, and it just so happens for the next few hours that the Earth is right in the way. So if you take a look at our solar system, you turn it on its side, it's very, very flat. All the planets, apart from Pluto and I think a few asteroids, all the planets revolve around this sun like that. So it looks like a flat disk, okay? And so it just happens that mathematically, it just happens randomly. It's highly predictable, by the way. This is Sun in Taurus, Moon in Scorpio. And in about 5 months from now, we're going to have the same two eclipses, but reversed. It's going to be the, I think it'll first be the full moon eclipse like this, followed by a new moon eclipse in Scorpio. Now, next couple of things before we, I'll get to the astrodoodle in a moment. I haven't even started. I'm actually about 20 minutes behind because I was trying to get some rest and I lost consciousness for a while. Oops. Anyway. Precious Moment says, oh, finally it's getting warmer. It snowed the day before yesterday. Well, that's probably a big improvement from Arctic ice where it's too cold to snow. So, a couple of things before I get into the astrodoodle. This, as I predicted months ago, this eclipse is really, mostly it's all about the global financial system. When you add in Uranus in Taurus, and you add the Taurus North Node, and you add Pluto in retrograde and Mercury in retrograde, these are like this was like a real setup for global financial upheaval, shock. And of course that's exactly what happened, and it's going to continue to happen the rest of this year. And it's just like extremely active tectonic plates when it comes to global finances. Taurus is all about the money, and Scorpio is all about the other people's money, like the bankers, the insurance companies, the stock markets, and all of that. And they are deeply, I guess you would say, conflicted. They are about as far apart as can possibly be. In other words, at the very, very top of the global financial system is the United States Federal Reserve Bank, at the very, very tippy top of the apex, in collusion with the United States federal government. The next tier down is all the other central banks for all the other countries in the world. And the next tier down is all the big corporations and the big media and the big tech operations and big finance, big oil, all of that. And then all the retail banking. And then after that, the pyramid like tapers off. It's sort of like this. After that, it's the rest of the world. And like with all good Ponzi schemes, or like with the printing press, because the whole of the global financial system is the most beautifully orchestrated fraud ever in human history. I mean, these folks are experts. It's just incredible what they do and how they do it. And they've been getting away with it for at least 120 years now. Roughly half of the Pluto cycle. Like the deep levels of corruption started to penetrate the United States around 125 years ago, which was just before the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank came into existence and took over the United States. So the Federal Reserve Bank, it earns its living by sending all this paper all over the world. They call it money. You know, it's actually just a currency. These are just tokens of exchange. And they created this fantastically organized system where everybody on Earth is led to believe that these bits of paper are incredibly valuable. And the more you have, the more wealthy that you are. But in order to get all those tokens, you have to give away your own energy. And so that's how the bank farms us. We, the people, are being farmed. We're being farmed ruthlessly and extremely efficiently. But the farm system is starting to come unglued. And the bankers know that. So they're trying to superimpose a newer, more powerful, more subtle, more devious method to farm humanity than ever before. And that's the introduction of CBDC, central bank digital currencies, where it looks like money is literally just magic. It's just like pixie dust. There it is. And it's if you look at the World Economic Forum, you go to the Federal Reserve Bank, whatever it is, .org or something, or .gov or something like that, it's all spelled out. It's all happening by design. And they're giving us a heads up. Basically what's happening is planet Earth is going to be saturated with CBDCs. There you go. And it's their way of not only injecting humanity with these tokens that they call money, but the tokens are controlled. I mean, you've heard all these stories already about how China is already doing it. So they will happily send you their money directly from the Federal Reserve, so long as you behave according to how they want you to behave. And this has never happened before in history, on Earth, in human history. And it's very, very scary. And there's this alternate stuff called cryptocurrencies, which is kind of like a competitor to all this fake money. And some of you probably noticed that the cryptocurrency markets, especially Bitcoin and a few others, Terra Luna, had a massive, massive implosion just the other day. Personally, I think it was manipulated, but also it shows the weaknesses in human design. And basically, the legacy banking system is terrified of honest money. I've talked about this for years now. Fake money versus real money. Real money is where you earn your money, and it's your sovereign wealth, and it has genuine value. And the way it used to work in America with free open banking is that prices would go down over time because people built up wealth. If you think of a state like Michigan here in America, Michigan became kind of an aberration because the economy of Michigan became so successful that became a problem to the big corporations that thought, we can't have this. These idiot low-class worker bees who are just putting cars together, assembling them according to our genius designs, they're doing too well. Look at them. They're buying houses and they're owning houses and they're paying off their mortgages within 5 and 10 and 15 years. And then they own that. That's sovereign wealth. We can't have that happen. That means they're too powerful. And then what happens? Next, they go off and buy us a second home, a vacation home down in Florida. That's disgusting. We have to destroy that. Even after Henry Ford did the opposite. Henry Ford doubled the wages for his Ford workers so that they could afford to buy the cars. And it worked. The workers were so happy that they responded very well and they performed extremely well in the workplace. It was sheer genius. But from the very tippity top of the financial system, that's bad, Henry. Henry Ford, you're going against the system. We're the Federal Reserve. We own America. You cannot let these plebeian animals have any kind of increased sense of wealth and power, control, and sovereignty over their own lives. So what we're going to do is we're going to print a lot more money. And we're going to create inflation. And we're going to spread it all over America. And everyone's going to start thinking they're getting rich. But what's going to happen is they're going to end up having to pay 20 and then 25 and then 30-year mortgages just to get their first house. And now we're at the point where they can't even own a house anymore unless they cripple their own children. Yay! Anyway, sorry, I'm ranting now. Let me see if I can do this astrodoodle, folks. I'm all over the place, as you can tell. So, let's do this. So give me a second here. I have to assemble the astrodoodle in live and retail. In real time. Let's call it in real time. Well, there's Bubba hair everywhere. Okay, here we go. And so this is another astrodoodle, the view of planet Earth from outer space at this moment in time. And let me just fill this out briefly. So chat amongst yourselves. You know what? I'm going to actually put on a little tune here because I need to concentrate. And it's going to be difficult for me to do what I have to do otherwise. Okay, here we go. All right. just in time. Whew, let's have a look here, see if I can make any sense of this, help you along, folks. Alright. Alright, so cheers everybody, by the way. Thank you very much for being here and your generosity. Hello, Gregory. So here is my astrodoodle for today. It looks a bit scary because I want it to look a bit scary because we've been building up for this for 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, the moon was over here. We had the new moon solar eclipse over here in Taurus. That's when things started to get very, very, very shaky. Things were getting very close to Uranus in Taurus. We got the North Node in Taurus, Sun and Moon. So it was a very powerful Taurus stellium over there. And we predicted this would be all about global finances. And if you've had just even a slight sniff of the news for the world, you'll understand that the planet Earth is going through massive convulsions financially. And it has become very obvious now to the point where the media cannot not report out it. The information is so bad for so many people. So for example, right now, today, okay, let's look at it this way. Just for this chart today, we're talking about the global elites over here who are trying to exert extreme maximum control and power across the world through the Federal Reserve and the U.S. federal government. That's their day job. And what they do, their day job is to print money to infinity so they can export inflation, which makes them extremely wealthy and maintain all the power and the money and the control, but it impoverishes everyone else. Basically, the farther you live away from the printing press, the more poor that you will be. If you're connected directly to the printing press, in other words, you're one of the Federal Reserve bankers or you're part of the United States federal government at the very top, whichever side, but in the administration, not the administrations, but the actual institutions, then you can benefit enormously. So this is where it's all organized over here, plus all their buddies over here at the World Economic Forum, but they have a big office for the World Economic Forum right over here too. So you might as well say that it's all orchestrated from over here. Now, the full moon eclipse affects the whole of planet Earth. And I can point out very clearly where the main suffering will occur. And you've probably already guessed it. The main suffering in the financial world is happening all over here, and here, all over here, a lot of places over here in the Middle East, all over India, all over most of China, especially southern China, all over Southeast Asia. Okay? In these populations here, they're some of the poorest populations on Earth, but they're still very densely populated. So when we add up all the people from here and here and here and here and here and here, just these sections in here, you're looking at least 2 billion people. Okay? And we have about 7.5 billion people. And I was talking privately with Love Tribe recently about my speculation on the numbers. And I estimated that in the very near future, we're going to see at least 2 billion people starting to very openly and clearly suffer from financial deprivation. Especially you were seeing it in Venezuela, Sri Lanka, but it's happening everywhere, okay? And that's, I hate to say it, but that's all part of the plan. the folks over here are trying to destroy the poor people because the poor people basically suck up a lot of resources and they take up a lot of space. And the only thing that they're useful for as far as these overlords are concerned is for slave labor. And they're highly expendable. And they've overpopulated. And so what happens is they export inflation from here. And that causes hyperinflation over here and here and here and here. And hyperinflation is highly destructive. It's almost like it's a more powerful weapon than a nuclear bomb or the bug virus thingy. Okay? Like, people don't understand the power of inflation and how it actually works. I tried to explain it in my book. I sold a few copies. I'm very proud of that. I explained it years and years ago that we were heading to this, and now it's happening. And I feel like I'm repeating myself so many times. I mean, literally, there are so many families, men, women, and children, just starving for like food, money, water, clean air, clean food. A lot of them can't even get food. Some of them can't get clean water, let alone sanitation or shelter. They can't defend themselves. They can't afford to buy weapons. Most of them are heavily indebted now because they take survival loans from the IMF, which is run by, guess who? In organization with the WHO and the WEF and the BIS and the IMF, all of that. It's all a big private club of elites who are basically trying to sap our energy. In the United States, in some ways, we're very lucky because we're very close to the printing press. Europe is fairly close, but we're very close. So the United States population is probably the least amount of people who are aware or affected by what's happening. But it is happening. The United States is being impacted, and you're starting to see it on like YouTube, high integrity YouTube channels. Of course, it's not being reported too much on the mainstream media. You're not going to see that yet. They're trying to pretend everything's still wonderful. Oh, who's that? Look at, I just saw something on the chat there. Hold on. It says, Born Solar Eclipse 76 just landed. Who's that? Greetings. Thank you and welcome. So I think I better kind of get on with it. I've got 6 readings to do, and that's over my normal amount, so I hope I can help you guys. Obviously, you know, I'm here and I do my hold on, let me get over here. Good evening and welcome, folks. Yeah, I'm over here and I do personal readings for people. You can book them through terralumination.com. You can see it all in the links below. Thank you very much. By the way, I'm supposed to ask you to please subscribe if you're new. Please click the bell, the ding bell, so you can get your notifications, and some likes. They all help. I have to admit, I've reached a point of desperation. Let's just say it. I'm desperate. I'm trying to save my little channel, and I'm not the expert at self-promotion and marketing, so I'm doing what, you know, successful channels are supposed to do. Anyway, so I don't have the Patreon anymore, and because I felt that I wasn't really able to offer anything because life kind of gets in the way. I'm trying to reconstitute my life now, and hopefully I'm going to find a way to dedicate a bit more time to the channel and you guys, all right? Greetings, Born Solar Eclipse 76. Well, I'm not going to go back into my ephemeris right now, but it sounds like you know your business. Wow, that's so cool. Oh gosh, there's so much stuff to talk about. I'll probably have to make more videos. But for now, we're here to do some live readings. I've had some really crazy news happening in my own life recently, and a lot of it was to do with, I don't know, money and personal things. I lost a dear friend. She passed away. I think she was only like 36 or something. It's very sad. And she was a New Zealander. Wonderful, wonderful person. She was an ambassador for paraplegics and disability people over in New Zealand. She was much loved. All right, let's have a look. Let's do this, okay? Stop complaining. So thank you, Karen. Thanks, Jeffrey, Indigo, Tina, Melissa, and Precious. So you're going to have to be patient. Okay, how am I going to do this? I'm just going to... You know what? Let's just put this away over here. Eclipses tend to bring things into sharp focus where there's no going back. Things get eclipsed out of your life. Perhaps money, for example. Excuse me. People, attitudes, belief systems. Some of you know that I feel that money is a belief system. And the belief system was designed, especially today, by what we call the Federal Reserve. And it's a beautifully, beautifully crafted belief system that makes people believe that these amazingly pretty and ornate pieces of paper have immense value. But still, they're really just pieces of paper. They represent the value, but the real value is your sweat and your energy. So please understand that the way it works is the people at the top of the pyramid, they are farming you, okay? They're farming you and controlling you, but you don't even know it's happening. It's the most amazing, let's say, control mechanism on Earth. Actually, I better put all of this stuff away. I need the room. Okay, let's have a look. Put that over here. Let's bring out the Universal Golden. There's so much going on astrologically right now. I don't really know where to start. But from my perspective, looking at the big picture, it's all about the money, honey. The money. And money is common to all of us. You can't survive on this planet without this stuff called money unless someone else takes care of that stuff for you, okay? Yeah, Karen, she was a wonderful girl. And I stayed with her for many weeks when I was living in New Zealand. And we became good friends. But she had extreme physical disabilities. And then she got a little bit sick and she was unable to recover. And that was the end of it. Very sad. Very, very sad. Cards are well shuffled, of course. Let's bless this deck. Bless every single card. A lot of you know this routine very, very well. And it may sound repetitive, but it's kind of like Wheel of Fortune. Everybody knows where they're standing, okay? It's the same thing, okay? I use my Tarot Lumination situational spread, which is essentially like a psychic, spiritual, astrological diagnostic tool for the soul, okay? You got to reveal it to heal it. You can't fix it unless you know what the problem is. And a lot of problems are very hard to diagnose or even identify. Some people don't even know what the problem is, so that's why they end up coming to a place like Tarot Lumination. There are some amazingly gifted people with the tarot and the astrology, and today I heard about one. Path Traveler sent me some links. It was incredible. Her name is Jessica Adams. She's a really top-level global English-speaking astrologer. And she's very well published. I don't know anything about her because I don't read those kinds of magazines. But, oh man. Oh, Precious. Oh man, I don't know what to do. I honestly don't know what to do. God damn. But this Jessica Adams, she wrote a very thorough and very well studied examination of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and the and the massive implosions that happened in the global financial system over the last couple of weeks, especially with cryptos. And it was, I could tell from double checking in the article that this woman, Jessica Adams, really knows what she's doing. And in fact, she's, in a way, she's much more advanced than me because she goes deep into the academic details. I just go for the big fuzzy feelings, and I don't know too much about the deep mathematics and everything. But anyway, she does. And what happened is she gave an explanation about why these cryptocurrencies were imploding, and she mentioned Bitcoin. And she mentioned how Bitcoin represents the enemy towards the Federal Reserve business of fake money. And Bitcoin represents solid money, okay? And then in the closing paragraphs of the article, she was going on about how Uranus and Taurus matches the Bitcoin phenomenon extremely well. Well, of course, with Pluto and Capricorn as well. But she also mentioned that, when Uranus moves into Gemini in about 4 years, who knows? Bitcoin might disappear. Guess what happened? Within an hour of me reading that, her whole website vaporized and the articles disappeared. I can get anywhere else on the internet, but she just vaporized. I think some people didn't like what she wrote and they attacked her. I personally think that Bitcoin is going to stay, but it'll become much more like an establishment thing, and it won't be all this front headline type of news article stuff anymore. It will become institutionalized. That's what I believe. I don't know. I can't prove it. Uranus in Gemini is going to be very much about global commerce and massive upheavals in terms of global commerce and global communications, which are all intricately tied with finances anyway. So I think cryptos are going to be around for a long time. All right, bless this deck, bless every single card. I don't do any reversals. I'm not doing any oracles. I'm just doing my little mini situational spread. It's a diagnostic tool. Okay, Karen? You said you wanted a wild reading, so that's what we're going to get. Now, some of you have seen each other's names here before, so we have some history. So some of you know that Karen Clark represents the artist community, especially the Indigenous and Maori artist community on the North Island in New Zealand. And she's very gifted in that way. And she has friends and family like everyone else, and she lives right next to the ocean. Here we go. Here's the situation. Sorry, I didn't cut it. Let me finish this, all right? Let's cut this up. All right, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the surrounding conditions, okay? The influences, external influences. Hint, hint, the planets. So I've got the Ace of Pentacles. So, money, okay? But also, let's look at... when I see an ace like this, it's a card of sacred opportunity. And it's there. The energy's there for you. It's a question of, are you going to grab it? Are you aware of it? Can you see it? Do you have the nerve to take advantage of such a great opportunity? And it would indicate new starts and new beginnings. And so with these eclipses, you might have reached a point where certain people or attitudes or activities or relationships, remember sun, moons, oppositions, we're talking about the axis of relationship. The way I feel it, since we've worked together before, Karen, is that it's almost like all you have to do is blink, close your eyes for a few seconds and allow yourself to view your world from a new perspective. You just kind of go like, and you open them and you see everything differently, where it's almost like you willfully go into a trance, and you ask, dear heavenly angels, dear invisible friends, dear guardians, dear protectors, dear loved ones from the great beyond, with whom I am deeply connected, I know you love me. I don't necessarily know who you are by name, but I know you're there. I know that I am loving and that I am loved. I know that I am guided. I know that I am protected. Please bring to me that which is mine. Please take away from me that which is not mine, in a way that is what is best and most valuable and wholesome for me. Thank you very much. Amen. So you do something like that, okay? So what you might experience is, if you do a really simple but powerful invocation like that, certain people or circumstances or arrangements or relationships may be eclipsed out of your life to make way for something new. And that something new could potentially be a lot more, let's say, financially healthy for you, or a gateway to something more healthy. Another one. Oh, Lesiele Etiaki. Hello, over there in California. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to keep up tonight. I've got so many readings. I hope my voice holds out. Please, no more readings. I love you guys so much. I really need the business. I don't like to admit it. I don't like to say I'm desperate, but I am desperate. So thank you very much. But you have to understand, I might fizzle out, and I might have to reschedule some of you. I don't know. We'll just do what we can, okay? Hello, Lesiele. I see your notes. How are things doing right now with B and I? Anything new? B and I, anything new? Okay, we'll see. Okay. Whew. Okay, Karen. So I see this as good news for you. And it's there. It's available to you. But it does involve risk, and it does involve courage, because it means having to accept what the universe is bringing to you, which may not be quite exactly what you might have imagined in your, let's say, three-dimensional consciousness, but at a multi-dimensional level, we're looking at a whole new way to look at your personal finances, your personal business, which translates into your personal wealth and abundance. Not just for you, but you and your loved ones and your environment and your business and your world around you. What's the situation itself? Wow. Okay, I'm not going to say that if you're not happy, you should be, but essentially that's kind of the message I'm getting. Like, Karen, if you're not aware, you have a right to be happy. You are worthy. You are deserving. You are ready to receive. You're open to receive. You're ready. You're willing. You're able to receive. So receive it. Just have to be ready and willing. And instead of filtering everything through layers and layers of conditions, oh, well, I can't possibly be wealthy or successful unless I comply with so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Can you see how that's self-limiting? Whereas the sun energy here is very, very simple, pure, powerful energy, where it's almost like you wake up as though the rest of your life, previous history, is completely erased, except for, let's say, the energy of life itself. And then you wake up and look at your life in the new world today, right now. What about now? What now? What now? What now? What now? Oh, the most important thing is that I do what is right for me, that which makes me happy, because that is what's best for everyone else in my world. Now, I'm not talking about narcissism and egomania and deprivation of others for your benefit. No, of course not. You're not like that, Karen. It's just that perhaps you needed a reminder that you do have a right to be happy. In fact, at this level of kind of reading, because we've worked enough times together before, it is your responsibility, it is your duty to find happiness and to give yourself permission to be happy and to award yourself happiness. Let's say an adverse situation just suddenly arrives. You get a phone call or an email from somebody and they say, hey, Karen, you're supposed to be here, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, and we need you to blah, blah. And you can say, you know what? No, thanks. I'm much happier doing this. Okay, so if someone else has a problem with your happiness, that's their problem. Okay? Now, what are the challenges here? Okay, so with the Chariot, we got some powerful cards here. My feeling is that you're kind of aware of what we're talking about here. Because you're kind of a self-starter, you're kind of an entrepreneur. You remind me of someone I miss very dearly from decades ago. She was the best employer, boss, business owner, manager that I've ever known, male or female. I respected her so much. I was so proud to work for her and with her. And I miss that so much. And you have a little bit of that, Karen. Okay, you have that. And I know from having worked with someone like that before, where sometimes you go through these moments of doubt, like, wow, how am I going to exactly manifest these new starts and new beginnings so I can be happy? How on earth am I supposed to get my life together? It doesn't feel to me like there's any kind of textbook or guidebook or internet, guru, meditation class or business development school where I can go to and pay thousands of dollars and come out the other side being a multimillionaire. It's not going to work like that. And so if you're having extreme self-doubt about your abilities to, generate your own happiness, generate a new form, a new perception about wealth, new sources of wealth, okay? That's mostly just fear, okay? That's just fear, okay? See, no one's going to drive your life or steer your chariot or drive your car for you. You end up having to do it yourself. You can't outsource any of this to anyone else. Eventually, you have to take full control of the reins, full responsibility, and say, you know what, damn it, I'm just going to live my life. I need to be happy for me, number one, because I guarantee if I, Karen Clark, can find the best way to be happy for me, that's going to be what's going to be the most tangible and valuable thing in my whole world. And that will extend to family and loved ones, business associates, friends, neighbors, and so on. So what's the solutions here? How are we going to deal with this? Wow, you got some big cards here. So with the Hanged Man, to me this feels like it's relating very much to the Eclipse, where it's almost like, what's that expression, the only way out is through? So in other words, even though you might be very frightened about the actual definition of pathways ahead for you, what does that actually look like? In other words, if you don't feel confident or capable of writing out like a 10-step plan of how you're going to rekindle your life, restart your life, reprogram your life in a way that's financially more sound and more suitable, perhaps much simpler, perhaps, for example, downsizing. There might be a way to really radically downsize and only focus on things that really truly work, and don't worry about expansion or ambitions at that point, and then let those happen later on. But in the meantime, it might require that you, let's say, allow yourself to be disoriented, to be influenced by, I would say, the external type of energies that I just talked about, where you deliberately, by invocation, you request divine intervention into your life. You ask for it. Please, dear invisible friends, bring to me that which is mine, what is most good for me. Please take away from me that which is not mine. And then you affirm that with a statement to heaven. Whatever is mine comes to me. Whatever is not mine moves away. Like this is a fact of life, like this is a law of the universe. And then you allow it to happen. Now the thing is, once you invoke an invocation like that, and it's really powerful, it can feel very disorienting as you actually live through the disassembly of the world as you know it, in order for a new world to, let's say, format itself. New starts and new beginnings. There's no cards here of like demolition. There's no tower cards. There's no death cards here. To me, it feels more, it's more like spiritual disorientation. Like, allow yourself, it's almost like deliberately allowing yourself to feel unhinged in the process of reorienting yourself into something like much simpler, more solid. For the way I would look at it personally, like if we were actually hanging out in a room together, I would say, hey, and we had like a few hours, let's go out for lunch, let's go for a walk, let's go to the beach, let's have coffee, let's have some fish and chips and a beer later on, and we could really hash this through. I would say, show me what you got. Lay it all out. What are all your talents, all your gifts, all your resources, all your connections, all your relationships, all your aspirations? And let's put it all on the table. Let's see what we're going to, we'll cherry pick all the best of this, and we'll say, how are we going to make this work? And you kind of go, whoa, I never thought about it. Like, wait a minute. Is it that simple? And then I say, yeah, it is. It's just called downsizing. You just jettison anything and everything that doesn't work. Ooh, eclipse. You allow the eclipses to eclipse anything and everything from your life that is no longer relevant. That's it. But when you do it by invocation and you say, bring it on, that adds so much more power rather than waiting for like stuff to happen, like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening, I'm freaking out. Stuff happens to you. When you take charge, with the chariot, it's about really taking charge. You deliberately take charge, and you strengthen yourself knowing that it can be very disorienting, okay, as you move through a vortex from one way of being to a new way of being. The eclipses do that. Evolutionary leaps, going from here to here to here. And there's no going back. So you might as well bring it on, okay? Thanks, Karen. I hope that helps you. Oh, where shall I go? Indigo Williams. Now, I have to scroll back to the chat. I did see something here. Oh my gosh, I haven't done your post-it note. Hold on, Leslie. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's silly. Oh man, I don't think I've had this many readings in a long time. Please be patient, everybody. Sorry, you're going to have to be very, very patient, okay, Leslie? Jeepers, man. You guys caught me totally off guard. Sorry, the weather is very extreme, and these post-it notes are curling up in crazy ways. All right, Indigo, let me just shuffle up here. I'm going to put on a little tune just so I can get through the shuffling quickly and effectively. Okay? Hold on, let me see if I can do this. Okay. Indigo, we've done this before. Let me just scroll back through the chat in case I missed something, because some people have been putting notes in the chat and I've missed half of them. There's Melissa. Oh, Madonna. A blind reading, it's been a while. Okay, I see it. I got the notes. I see it. I got you. I got you. All right, we're going to do a completely blind reading. So brace yourself, Indigo. Anything could happen. All right, cards are well shuffled and cut, so we're going to pull out the spread. Here we go. Oh, hello, by the way. Hi, Leslie Ellie. I got you. Seriously, Karen, isn't it weird how this tarot stuff works? It's freaking mind-boggling to me. Okay, Indigo, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Remember, this is just diagnostics. You know, psycho-spiritual soul diagnostics. I'm not any kind of one of those creepy people that I was accused of in late 2018. I am not that person. But I'm still suffering from the accusations. Okay, here we go. Let's have a look. External influences. Whoa! All right, so we've got the Seven of Cups here. Now, I would relate this first off to all the Neptune energy right down. I'll show you. Give me a second. There's a huge cluster right here. It's very, very powerful. Mars is in Pisces, conjoined Neptune in Pisces. It's kind of a strange, uncomfortable conjunction. Jupiter just left Pisces. It's on the cusp at 0 degrees in Aries, so there's a kind of a weird shift. I guess the best way that I could describe it is that the recent transits from Jupiter, okay, it's been almost like 7 months or something with Jupiter in Pisces for all of this time. It's been very, very trippy for the whole world. It's just, take all that Neptune energy, Neptune in Pisces, where you have all the most like amazing wonders of the world, where humanity is being exposed to its own awesomeness like never before. We're seeing how incredibly we are as human beings, and also how incredibly toxic we are to each other. And it's starting to show up on the world stage, where humanity is turning against itself. Like humanity has become toxic to itself. And it seems so unnatural that it's disorienting. And it's frightening, and it's disturbing, and like at the most elementary 3D level, we're seeing it in terms of all the riots and the violence and the extreme, let's say, war that's going on for the sake of it. We're talking about, that place in Eastern Europe, beginning with U. It's bloodshed and slaughter and rape and pillage for the sake of it. It's extremely, extremely sick energy, hyper-violent, sick energy. It's like the energy of hysterical laughing when somebody does like a child blood sacrifice or something, like, ha 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 ha, now we can assure that we're going to go to heaven. Step up, little child, for your ritual slaughter. I mean, it's disgusting. But that's the kind of energy that I feel here. There's like people, certain really toxic people are gorging on savagery to the point where here we are today in 2022. Humanity has been around for 150,000 years roughly, which is not much, but recorded history is about 3,000 years. So we've had time to sort of learn about ourselves, and what we're discovering is that there's still a portion of humanity in our soul nature which is still extremely unevolved and extremely sick. And it's very disorienting. Like right now, tonight, I know of one person in Austria who's really struggling right now. We know of Precious really struggling. Does she deserve it? No. Precious for example, was a very loving, giving healer. Okay? And so when I see this Seven of Cups here for you, Indigo, it feels to me like it's almost like, no offense, but it's like you're being infected, or you have been infected almost with this external energy, which is none of your business. It's just that it's there, it's out there, where you're like looking at your life and your world, society, friends, family, and relatives. I don't know your status, single, married, kids, or whatever, but starting to look at it and seeing it as like almost like this delusional nightmare. And how do we get there? How do we get to this point? This feels very like a very, it doesn't feel personal at all, okay, Indigo? I just want to let you know. When I'm seeing the Seven of Cups there, it doesn't feel personal to you. It feels to me like it's almost like you're witnessing a lot of tragedy and perversion and sorrow and things that just don't make sense in humanity. Like it just doesn't make sense. Why would humanity treat itself that way? Why are there so many why is there this handful of people at the very, very top who take such great pleasure in the deprivation of others? It's like sick, disorienting, perverse. And it can be very, very disturbing. I have a dear friend in New Zealand who I know is extremely, like I would say, disoriented and disturbed by global events right now. We can really barely even talk about it. But I can sense that the infection is there, because it's affecting all of us. If you happen to be sensitive or hypersensitive, or you're very, very compassionate by nature, and you can't help it, and you just absorb the surrounding energies, and it's potentially very easy for you to become sick, but it's from external influences, okay? Thanks, Lorraine. 12 minutes to the eclipse. Dun, da, da, da. We're almost there. Okay, so please don't take this personally. What I was talking about, Indigo, this is just, it's what's around you, okay? It's the way things are with the planets. I mean, it's a universal geometry, the way I do my astrodoodles, but how it impacts you is another thing. And it's not personal, it's just that from your perspective, you might be feeling and sensing that there's a lot out there that is very sick and very unhealthy and very inappropriate, to the point where it has the potential to make you illusioned or disillusioned or confused or sad for life and humanity, okay? What's the situation itself? Okay, so with the Page of Swords here, my feeling is that for you this is personal, Indigo, where you're at a point where you have to speak out no matter what. It's like it doesn't matter the consequences of what you know or what you understand or what you know that you have to say in order to call out the truth. It's almost like the energy of a whistleblower or a vigilante. You don't really care anymore. The only thing that counts is that it's really, really important for you that you step into your own truth. And instead of, like, let's say, hiding or, let's say, complying with society or conventions or complying with, however you were raised as a child or your current belief system, if you're starting to sense that there's something very wrong and you need to grow out of it, and you're feeling a profound urge to step into your own truth, which might feel as though you need to speak out and share your personal subjective truth with others or with the rest of the world, then so be it. Some people are very scared to do that. They do not want to live in their own truth. It's much safer and easier from their perspective to just comply with the masses. But eventually, Some people reach a point, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I don't want to be a part of some global delusion. I want to live in truth. I want to live in universal truth, not someone else's subjective truth. Hello, Hank Hill. Oh, I don't know that. All right. So, what's the problem here? To me, this looks like there's part of you which is very, very shy, which is starting to become realized in your consciousness, and there's part of you which is saying, like, this is not appropriate anymore. Okay. What's the problem here? Okay, so with the Two of Wands, there might be a feeling deep down inside of you where external events and circumstances at the personal level, okay, let's just say it now, at the personal level and the global level, have become so disorienting where you feel that you might feel it's actually potentially very risky to set out on your own path and create your own destiny, plant your own seeds for the future, especially if there's uncertainty about, what lies ahead. In other words, it's almost like you have to know your own truth first. Who am I really? What are my beliefs? What are my thoughts? Do your words match your actions, for example? Are you living with integrity in yourself? Are you doing one thing but saying another? Are you saying what you do? Are you doing what you say? If you are at a point where you're realizing if there's something out of whack and you need to get reoriented, you might be frightened that, oh my God, if I don't get my SHIT together, who knows what my destiny might be. So, to me, the way I see it with the Two of Wands here, there's like a fear of the future, a fear of the destiny. Part of that is, I hate to say it, it's partly your own fault because my feeling is you haven't actually encountered this kind of experience before, and so now you're aware of it. When you look at your world around you and you see so much dysfunction, you start to realize, oh my God, if I don't get my own personal SHIT together, I could end up like the rest of planet Earth in a total pile of doo-doo. And so you're left with like, oh my God, well, if that's the case, then what is my future? What is my destiny? What seeds do I need to plant right now in order to ensure my destiny and plan a future and create a legacy down the road? 30 years from now, one whole Saturn cycle from now, who knows? Okay, so what are we going to do about this? To me, this looks a lot about personal awakening with a little bit of, to me it reminds me, okay, Indigo, I'm just going to share something. It reminds me of my very early days in yoga. And then I transitioned into very advanced yoga, and it became very disorienting as the yoga practices tended to dissolve and remove any blockages that were getting in the way of me being a better me. It's very disorienting. And my feeling is you might be going through some kind of phase like that yourself, where you are evolving and you know it, you can feel it, but you're just not used to the experience. Like, whoa, what is this? So I think this little mini reading is sort of a little bit of a tap on the shoulder. Like when you go to a yoga class and the yoga teacher quietly comes up and says, you're going to be okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's not, everybody goes through this at some point. Don't worry, you're fine. That's kind of what I'm sensing, all right? So how are we going to deal with this going forward? So with the Empress card here, my feeling is like go back to basics, okay, Indigo? Go up to the mirror. Go to a full-length mirror somewhere. Like it's some kind of, I don't know, if you've got a big closet somewhere with full-length mirrors, or a place or a shop or a store that has big full-length mirrors, and look in them, go up to there preferably quietly, or if you've got a trusting friend, go with them and have a conversation while you're looking at yourself in the mirror going like, is that really me? What is the real me? Who is the real me? And what you have to do is understand that your default setting is awesome. I am just freaking awesome. And my job now is to not forget that. And so when you remind yourself, wow, I really am that awesome. Like, is that really me? Am I really that awesome? Wow. Jeepers. Lumination said so. But he's implying we need reaffirmation. Oh, I get it. Right. Okay. So with the Empress here, I think it's about reorienting yourself so that you aren't disoriented by what's happening at this very moment in time, like with, the planets, the astrology, World War III, the eclipses, and all that stuff. And you can get back to basics, your life, your world, and sort of get back to your default setting of just being awesome. Just need a reminder that you're gorgeous in your own way. You're beautiful, you're powerful, fertile, abundant, everything that is good in your femininity, okay? No apologies. And then you kind of go, oh yeah, you're right. I am actually okay. I'm actually pretty freaking awesome now I think about it. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. And then you can get back into this stuff and cope much more easily, where you're not so disoriented by external influences, where you're not frightened of your own shadow, and instead you live in your own light and your own power, and you create your own destiny and your own future through your own powerful decisions, okay? When I do sometimes those big heart spreads or personal readings, decision making is an incredibly important part of self-development, self-evolution. But a lot of people don't want to do it. They don't want to make decisions. They don't want to live in truth. They don't want to examine themselves. They just want to kind of go along with the status quo and hope nobody notices. And then they just plug themselves into whatever is the most convenient and easy belief system so that they don't have to evolve. Well, that scenario is not appropriate for you, Indigo, or at least not anymore. It's time for you to fully get into your own awesome self and take the bold steps, call out your truth, and take the steps forward, and trust that each step forward is like planting seeds of love, creating seeds of destiny, okay? All right, here we go. Indigo, let's have a look. Oh, Precious, you're up. Oh, Precious, I don't know what to do. If I was some kind of rich kid, I would just send you gobs of money through Zelle. That's what I would do. Really, really simple. Super, super simple. So a lot of you know Precious Moments. Precious is up there. Let me just get the maps. Okay, hold on. Some of you know the story already. Here we are. Here's the world. Precious is over here around Edmonton in Canada. Okay, it gets pretty chilly up there. The place where she was living. See, I can't show it on this one here. What? No, it's not really. Edmonton is around here. Okay. Edmonton is sort of here. So, as you can imagine, it gets very, very cold. So what happened, I'll just fill in the story, okay, very quickly, Precious. Everybody out there who's watching, Precious lives in Edmonton. She's a highly qualified nurse. Their country in Canada, they were forcing people to get injections against this bug. It was against Precious' belief system. She refused to get the injection because she didn't trust the injection, and I don't blame her. Some people are okay. Some people are very sick because of the injections. Anyway, that's a personal subject. I don't want to offend anybody. But anyway, Precious exercised her rights not to get the injection. And so she was released from her employment as a very important nurse. Okay, so now the sick people in Edmonton have lost a really good nurse. And she lost her income. And her apartment fell apart and the pipes burst and there was black mold. And so the city had to take her out of the house and put her in a shelter. And the owners are being forced to refurbish the apartment, but it's not going very well. So in the meantime, it's almost like 2 months now, isn't it, Precious? You've been stuck in a shelter with your kid just trying to survive day to day. And the latest notes here is that Human Services has come along and said, like, if you don't get something sorted out soon, we're putting your kids into foster care. That's very scary. Very scary. I don't know what to do. I was trying to set up a couple of, Zoom meetings so we can have a personal, really like human interaction and share that with the channel and ask for huge donations. It didn't seem to happen. It's not seeming to happen, but if anyone's interested, let me do that. Hold on. I forgot I had this. If anyone's feeling really rich and loaded and generous right now, you can send Zelle money to this email. I hope you can read that. trinityann_2@hotmail.com. We've done it before. I have sent some Zelle money. Gregory sent some Zelle money. I think a few others sent some Zelle money. And anything would help right now. Literally anything. For milk, eggs, coffee, whatever it is. I mean, she needs a lot more because she's got to try and find a deposit to get a new place to live, let alone a job and be able to pay rent and all of that. But anyway, that's her email. If you can send PayPal, but I think she likes Zelle, Z-E-L-L-E. All right, Precious, we're going to do this. Let's have a look. All right, let's have a look here. So, Precious, at least you're here. I guess I'm assuming you're kind of on your smartphone or something and you can see the channel from your phone or something like that. I don't know. I'm kind of beyond knowing what to do. We'll give you this reading, though. All right. If anybody wants to, you can send a prayer to Precious. Send her some kind of invisible, powerful blessing. Ask for healing. Ask for a windfall. Ask for something good to fall into her lap. Here's the situation. Well, we already know the situation, but we're going to do a little mini tarot reading anyway. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Okay, let's have a look at the surroundings. Okay. So with the Five of Swords, this is kind of an energy of futility. It might make you feel as though every time you might be sensing you're heading in the right direction, something backfires. Remember, swords are all about like communications, information, knowledge. Mercury is retrograde right now in Gemini, and it's heading back into Taurus, which is going to be with, commerce and communications and money. So to me, it feels like right now, be prepared for things to be choppy or very, very choppy. Like, for example, if you try to present a strong argument or strong defense for you to keep your kids close to you, even while the city services are threatening to take them away, you might feel as though it's a futile conversation. It's almost like it doesn't matter what I say. People aren't going to listen. They're not going to believe you. They're not going to believe me. Like, if you argue with them, they're going to argue with you. And that ends up as a lose-lose dynamic. So you have to be very, very careful. And with this as an external energy, with the eclipses and the moon and everything like that. I mean, this sounds really brutal, but I have to say it, okay? If things turn out where your children are being removed from you in your life, and it feels like it's futile trying to fight it, then this is how it is. And then you're left with, well, okay, well, what do I do now? Now, this sounds like a really brutal, harsh reading. We haven't even started yet. Let's have a look at the situation. Okay, so with the Knight of Pentacles, we already know that you're doing your best. You've already done your best. That's all you ever do. You always put your best foot forward. You always come forward with what is most practical for you, yourself, and your kids, okay? That's kind of your default setting. You're basically a good, wholesome, well-intended, responsible, caring, loving person. Kind of like having a good farmer neighbor, okay? Now, there's another interpretation here which looks almost like, you know, like from a cartoon or a hero movie book where, gosh, the situation would be so nice if some kind of knight in shining armor would rescue me with a pile of money. Do you see how I could easily interpret that from here, just from the imagery? It would be so nice. What are the problems here? Let's have a look. Okay, money again. So you might feel as though, wow, I've worked so hard in my life. You got yourself qualified. You worked as a nurse. You spent a lot of energy nursing and taking care of others, raising 3 kids. But for what? For it to come to this point where you're basically effectively homeless, living in a shelter with your 3 kids at the mercy of the state, at the mercy of the church. Like, wow. Talk about being a victim of circumstance. This would almost be like a really classical textbook story of how the system has destroyed some people's lives. I know what's happened in Canada. Okay, so Precious, I don't watch him much now. There's a YouTube channel called Mr. Sunshine Baby, and he was all about the truckers' freedom rallies in Ottawa, and his channel blew up, exploded to 250,000 people because he was doing almost 24-hour news conveyance to keep the world appraised. And what the world witnessed was something absolutely, to me, is demonic, where your president, what is his name, Trudeau, exposed his true nature as a communist dictator. And he's destroyed the lives of so many people. And I believe you are a classic example of human roadkill thanks to Justin and his crowd. Okay? He's not going to apologize to you. He's above that. He's like royalty when it comes to the New World Order, the World Economic Forum, all the global elites. He's way, way, way up there at the very, very top. He's, from my perspective, he's like a little spoiled, arrogant little shit. And people have started to smell it. He's disgusting. To me, he's a disgusting human being, and he's showing his true colors. And a lot of Canadians are suffering accordingly. And you are a classic example of that. And it makes you question yourself. Wow, I am awesome. I'm precious. I'm precious moments. I work really hard. I'm dedicated. I'm very loving. And people love me at my work. And now I'm in this situation where the system is essentially turning against you. The landlord, who is supposed to provide responsible housing, is essentially now the enemy. the Human Services Department, where they're supposed to take care of you while you're in distress, are now threatening to break up your family. And you've worked so hard in your life to get to this point. It's disgusting. So what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? Let's see, move forward. Okay, my recommendation is to allow for things to implode. Like if you resist, if you kind of get into a fight. I know this sounds awful. This sounds like a really hideous, awful reading, Precious. But look at it this way. Because I've seen this. I've been in situations where I've seen government service people coming into families' homes and superimposing stuff, and it destroys the family. It doesn't have to be forever, but it can feel very traumatic. Okay? When I see the Tower card here, my feeling is that as despicable as things are, as frightening as they are, like if you are literally in a situation where you're face to face with some of these government agency people and they have decided that this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, it's almost like the worst thing you could do is fight them, okay? Because then you will be tagged as the instigator, as the one who's causing all the trouble. And none of this would have happened if it wasn't for you in the first place. And they're going to try to blame you for the demise of your family, okay? In fact, it's not you at all. The way I see it, it's Justin and his crew, okay? Okay? So, I'm going to release this note here. Okay? All right, thank you very much. So, let me go back. So, this sounds like a very, very inappropriate tarot reading. If you end up fighting the establishment or these commie monsters, it ends up making things worse. It ends up being a lose-lose situation. It's almost like you've already been destroyed and you're trying to protect and defend yourself. Of course, obviously, you're a mother. You know what wild animals do in the wild, like a wild tiger, a wild lion, a wild bird. When their children are threatened, the mothers can become extremely dangerous and extremely fierce. What I'm saying in this reading is that behavior could actually backfire against you. I know it sounds awful. It's like I'm telling you to I'm not telling you to comply and be, okay, please take my kids, all that kind of stuff. What I'm sensing is that if you fight it aggressively face on as though it's personal, they will make it personal against you, and they will tarnish you and turn you into the perpetrator. Okay, so be very, very, very careful. All right, Precious? I hope this reading helps you. God help you. All right, Tina, what's going on? Did you put any notes for me, Tina? I can't remember. I'm going to shuffle it up. Got to shuffle it up. All right, Tina, so give me a few minutes here. All right, Tina. I noticed you were very active in the chat earlier. I want to see if I mixed up anything. Come to Texas. We're free from the jab. Really? Seriously? Go blind. Okay. All right. Hold on. I got... Okay, hold on. I'm just checking some notes here. Tina put a bunch of notes, and I don't know if it's going to affect the reading. Oh, oh gosh. So I'm not doing astrological analysis at the moment tonight. I'm just doing the mini readings. So, because I don't have all your personal charts open in front of me and things like that. Oh, Tina, okay. Oh, I see a note there about the juniper. Oh, so you've got a bit of allergy right now. Oh, yuck. My God. I swear to God, I've never known anything like this before. I'm living in Las Vegas now, and I don't have allergies. There's 3 cats here. I love them. They love me. I give them all sorts of cuddles and rubs and everything, and I'm fine. But there's something about the air here, and it's just, it messes up. I had to, a doctor came to the house the other day, and they did an inspection. You know, they tested me and everything. They said, you got severe sinuses. So now I'm on like double doses. I take one sinus med on top of another sinus med, and one of them is a double dose. And it sort of helps, but it's horrible, okay? I'm not used to it at all. It's just, it really affects you all up here. I've never had that. All right, so we're going to move on. Tina, let's have a look. All right. Cards are well shuffled. Actually, you know what? They're well shuffled. Let's go for it. Let's see. What kind of messages do we have here for Tina tonight? Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And we're going to look at the surrounding energy, the influences, all that. The planets, of course. Duh. So we've got the 2 of Wands here. So Tina, I have to admit, Tina, I think it was last week we did a reading, or maybe the week before. I can't remember. But it stuck with me. And even till today, it stuck with me when you typed that thing. Well, what am I going to do with myself? You know, you're a highly qualified nurse. You've already lived that whole lifestyle. You've already lived the life of a professional, heavy-duty caregiver nurse in the emergency rooms, the ICUs, and all that. And it's taken its toll. And the whole point of your new life is to actually just be you. And you've got Ava. Ava is your search and rescue dog, who seems to be a very demanding animal, as wonderful as she may be. And then you came up with this thing, and I couldn't understand it. Shed antlers, shed antler. What is that? Shed antlers. And then I understood it was something to do with the shedding of antlers, or the shedding of the skin that grows on the antlers for deer or for wild deer. And you wrote something in the comments that said, like, you met someone up there in Helena, Montana, who does this antler shed search stuff, and he makes $13,000 a year on the side just with this antler shedding stuff. And I was totally blown away. I kept thinking, wow, okay, it's not like you're going to find that in the Indeed files or LinkedIn, nor even Craigslist or any kind of job posting anywhere. Antler shredder, search dog wanted. It's just not going to happen. So these are kind of the jobs that you make up for yourself. You're waiting on the results of a job interview this week. Okay, dokie. All right, let's have a look. So being self-employed is very different from being employed. I know which one I prefer if I can get it. But anyway, let's get on. So, Tina, this looks again like a lot of anticipation. You said you're waiting for results about a job interview, and that could have a really significant impact on your future. Like, what does the future hold for you? So with these eclipses, hold on, I need to put some more lighting in here. Okay, so with these eclipses, there's kind of like this no going back energy where there's no point in trying to reformat your life based on the life that you've lived already, where you're trying to reconfigure it all just in a new version. Instead, with the eclipses, it's almost like everything gets wiped and deleted, and then you have to start from scratch again. And the healthiest thing to do is to see it as new starts, new beginnings, rather than losses, okay? Okay, let's have a look. So this looks like it's very much about what does the future hold for me. So at these eclipses, now I don't know how long it's going to take for the results to come from your job interview and things, but to me it feels like since the Taurus Scorpio moon is very much about money is often very closely correlated to things like work and employment and getting paid. It's you could say the two things are connected here. Now, to me, for whatever reason, I can't explain why, but it feels like a very, very long-term thing that we're talking about here, where let's say you get positive results from this job interview, and the people say, you know, Tina, this could work for us. So come on board. How do you feel about that? Maybe it's one of those things where you have to sort out your plans and benefits and compensation and everything for the long term. Or maybe it's short. I'm not really sure, but it makes me feel like you're charting new courses for a new future, and in some ways it's like to me it feels like you're very lucky to be at a point in life where you can have like a complete new beginning, okay? It was hold on. What are these notes here? Ava is wild. I got new sod. That's new soil, new grass, new dirt. She's pulling up the rolls. Oh my God. Tina says here, it was a video interview. It was wild. You don't think you got it. Okay. You know, you can't look back. Okay, well, that's good. So long as you're not setting yourself up with huge expectations, you're giving yourself permission to keep roaming around. Keep the compass of life operating and moving. Okay, what's the situation itself? Life situation. Okay, so with the Eight of Swords here, I think this is very much to do with Mercury retrograde, where swords are very much to do with communications, information, mental static, mental, let's say, hazards, where you might feel as though, all right, say for like if you're focused on work, money, jobs, bringing in brand new income, then, hey Olson, hi. With the Eight of Swords here, it makes me feel like everything feels very, very tentative right now. Like, let's say this job interview doesn't work out. That would just be one issue out of many issues. Let's say it works out. Then that could be one sword here that could have been, sidestepped in a field of landmines. Now, I'm not, so that actually, landmines sounds way too severe. What I'm feeling is that with the Eight of Swords right now, the situation is kind of delicate, where even though your heart and soul wants some kind of clear resolution about the future, so you can feel nice and safe and steady, it looks to me like the reality is still very, to me it's like filled with static, where it's almost like you have to keep trying and looking for so many things, and a lot of it is trial and error, and there's no way out of it. It's part of the growth process. It's part of like starting a new life, planting new seeds, creating a new future, creating a new legacy, and having you have a previous life history on which you can draw for experience, like, oh, I know I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. But you might not know, like, well, maybe I want to do that or that or that, or maybe I could do this or that. So there's a lot of stuff up in the air, but when you add it all up together, it just feels like things could be very delicate, like I have to be very careful. It's almost like, please don't set yourself up for high expectations that can be fulfilled just suddenly by like a random miracle. Instead, it might be good to just understand that you have to navigate like in a very kind of piecemeal manner, like one step at a time, very, very carefully, filtering through things in life, okay? Let's have a look. What's the problem here? It might feel like you're a little bit lonely at the moment, where you don't have people directly in your network right now, where you feel that fuzzy, warm vibe. Like the way I would look at this, Tina, with the Three of Cups here, the way I look at the Three of Cups is, because I can relate to this myself. The way I live here in Las Vegas, I miss a lot of my buddies back in Los Angeles. I miss going to the coffee shops and walking on the beach and bumping into all sorts of random people that I sort of know. And it made me feel kind of warm and fuzzy. I felt a very strong connection with Los Angeles in my life there. But that thing is over now, and I miss that. And what I miss is the Three of Cups. That sense, my buddy Ben, he's only like, I don't know what he is, like 38, maybe 42, 45 or something like that. I think he's 44, I don't know. He's a good buddy of mine. And he's got early onset Parkinson's. My friend Elizabeth has cervical cancer. My friend Sherry is up to her neck like a 60-hour work week. My friend Johnny is consumed with work. I can't see him anymore. My friend Brian died. It's like everything's vaporized. With the Three of Cups in my life now, that's Boo Boo, Bonnie, and Bubba. Cats. Now you've got Ava and you've got the other dogs too, but it feels nice when you've got human companionship at your frequencies, your levels. And you might not be there yet because you've started such a new life so recently. It might take time to, get that warm, fuzzy feeling where there's a couple of people in your environment where you've got that warm, fuzzy feeling of connection. You connect with them and they connect with you. But it looks to me like now with the Three of Cups that you're not feeling it. Okay? It's almost like, where's my buddies? I'm relaying, that's my personal vibe, and it feels identical. Take it for what you will, Tina. I really miss my buddies. I have a full life here in Las Vegas, but I really miss my buddies, a couple of whom recently died. And what can I do? I miss my buddies. I miss hanging out with my buddies, okay? What are we going to do? How are we going to deal with all of this? This is a lot to handle, Tina. Remember, you were very courageous. You've done some huge astrological leaps in the last couple of years. How are we going to deal with this? Yeah! So you keep going. Okay, so with the Knight of Swords here, you keep going. I mean, this energy is fierce. It's knowing that you have to keep going, doing what you have to do, being who you are, living in your truth, which is highly aligned with universal truth. And there is no substitute. There is no compromise. There is no, let's say, mediocre middle path that will work. It's almost like you know what you've dealt with. You know the decisions that you made. And now you're dealing with them. And you know that life is all about making it happen. Okay? Like, it's almost like literally carving out your new world. Carving out your new life. Based on, I would say, a much more accurate... What's the word? A much more accurate model. That's like more Pentacles energy, but it's more like, you know, I used that expression earlier in one of the other readings. The only way out is through, and so you know that. You already know that. You already know you're dealing with all the classic obstacles of creating a new life and a new world. You already know that you're missing some of the life of your, loved ones or family or buddies. Perhaps it would be so nice if we could all hang out together in person. I'd love to meet you in person, Tina. I'd love to just hang out and have a beverage together and just go for a walk with the dogs or something like that. That would mean so much to me. It's just a little hard to do right now. And so you're left with this option. Well, I just have to keep going. In fact, it's like doubling down, making it your mission to do what has to be done, to think through what has to be thought, to understand what has to be understood in order to move on with your new life. It's almost like, I don't want to say force this, but it's almost like you have to keep going so that you can recapture a brand new version of this. Because this to me looks like it's really important to you. Having some kind of fuzzy, warm soul connection with maybe just one or two people, maybe 3 people in the community, maybe the broader community, where you really resonate with them and they really resonate with you. And then it justifies, it makes sense of all the intellectual shenanigans and hardship that you're having to endure in order to reformat this new life, okay? So don't fear, Tina. It looks to me like you're very much on path. It's just having to deal with it on a day-to-day basis, okay? Hey, thanks, Hank. Thank you, Hank. I can't read all the comments. I can't keep up with all of this, but it seems like you're a good person. And you're bringing some real value to the show. Thank you so much. I don't know. I'm trying to... Okay. All right, so let's move on. We got a few more readings to do. Thanks, Tina. I hope I didn't scare you with any of this. I mean, I felt a little bit scared doing that reading for Precious, but I mean, I have to call it out for what it is. Jeffrey, I know you paid up earlier. Come on, let's do this now. All right, Jeffrey. Melissa, I think you came in on the super chat. Les Yelly came in on the super chat. So we'll put you in line like this, okay? Hey Tina, there's no point in talking to me about blackjack. I'm not a gambler. I don't know anything about it. But I'm sure you could have a very lively conversation with Love Triber. She knows a lot about gambling. Jeffrey, your cards are shuffled. Cheers, Jeffrey. I think I recall seeing a note on the chat way earlier when you're just literally just hanging out, waiting, boredom, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for feedback from the authorities regarding your business, get the stamp of approval or whatever it is. You never scare me, do you? Thank you, Tina. Here's Tina, here's to you. Precious, here's to you. Here's to all of you tonight. Thank you for being here. You guys are really helping me stay alive right now. You have no idea. Let's keep going. We have a lot of work to do tonight. Jeffrey. Some of you know Jeffrey's been with us for quite some time now. Jeffrey's a young entrepreneur in the medicinals business, going through all the stages for certification and things like that. He's had all sorts of ups and downs, as you know. Actually, no, let me shuffle a bit more. Hey, Lorraine, I didn't see you there earlier. Hi. Hey, Lorraine. I just want to let you know, Precious is in deep doo-doo right now. Hey, if anybody wants to help out, listen. I don't know. I don't get a lot of activity with Precious on email or phone or anything. But if anybody wants to help out and extend some friendship, you can email Precious Moments directly at this address, okay? trinityann_2@hotmail.com. Right now, Precious is probably at a point where she would appreciate any support and friendship that she can get. Yeah, Vegas is a long way from where you are. It's funny that notes there about blackjack. I think it's a reference to gambling in Montana. Maybe gambling is heavily restricted. I don't know. But yeah, it's funny because living in Las Vegas is very strange for me because I'm not a gambler at all. And yet this whole city is built around gambling. The whole city. It's completely and utterly built on gambling. And so it feels very alien to me in that way. All right, listen, cards are well shuffled. Let's go for it, okay? All right, what kind of messages do we have here for Jeffrey tonight? Actually, I saw Gregory Ross here earlier. Good evening, Gregory, if you're still hanging out. Hope you're doing okay. Okay, Jeffrey, let's see what's going on. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at the external influences. Well, as you know, right now we're having the eclipse at this very moment. Sun in Taurus, Moon in Scorpio. I think it's about, 24, 25 degrees or something. So we got the Fool card. Like, oh my gosh. That's what we're dealing with here, Jeffrey. Sorry. I don't want to get you guys confused. I know who you are. I know who Jeffrey is. I know who Gregory is. All right. So anyway. So with the Fool card here, Jeffrey, to me, it feels like the best way to handle that energy is literally just chill, man. I don't know if you like to drink wine or whiskey or beer or have a little whatever it is that you do. But certain things are out of our control, you know, and sometimes the best thing to do is literally just chillax, you know. Just, what can you do? The eclipses affect everybody, whether they know it or not. And like if you happen to have a lot of Taurus, Scorpio stuff in your chart, then you might feel it more than others, and so on and so on. But it will affect you wherever you find the Taurus, Scorpio opposition around 24, 25 degrees. That will be in your chart somewhere, and that's the part of your life in your world that will be impacted by this eclipse. Now, without doing an in-depth, deep soul personal chart analysis, I can't really say much here, but the energy is out there. And the eclipses, the way I look at them, they're like evolutionary gateways. We enter into the eclipse energy, things happen, and then we are dispersed on the other side of the eclipse. New moon to full moon to new moon, whichever way it goes. Eclipses tend to remove things that are no longer relevant in our lives, okay? He just said it right on the screen. I've been smoking an unhealthy amount of weed, okay? Hello, Ivona. Greetings. Sorry. So anyway, with the Fool card there, it's almost like... What was that famous movie with Jeff Bridges or somebody? Like The Big Lebowski? Life's good, man. And I think his method of happiness and success was maintaining a perpetual stoner life. There was never any time where they were not stoned. It doesn't work for me. I can't handle it at all, so I don't partake. In a way, I wish I could. I'm actually quite jealous of people who can take that stuff, because it seems to me that it has some serious magic. But anyway, it doesn't work for me. Anyway, with the Fool card here, to me it feels like it's really simple right now, Jeffrey. Whatever's happening, it's out there, it's above and beyond your control. You've already planted your seeds of life. You've already set things in motion. You're already being who you are, the best version that you can be, doing what you have to do, how you have to do it, you know, checking in with your dad, minding your business, minding your own business, and so on. And it's like there's no point worry about it. You just got to live with it, okay? And go from there. There's no judgment here. There's nothing good or bad. There's nothing right or wrong about this. With the Fool energy here, it makes me feel like literally the best thing you can do is completely and utterly like you're doing, you know, distract yourself, chillax, relax, just enjoy hanging out with us, for example. Let's have a look. What's the situation? Yes. Here we are with the Two of Pentacles. So, to me it feels like whether you like it or not, even though you might feel as though you have no absolute finite control over the outcomes that let's say, you would like to be favorable towards you, you already do know that you have set things in motion. And so you're left with a situation where really the only thing you can do right now is kind of mind your own business in this very small details, like anybody would have to do, just almost like, when you're waiting for something, okay, because sometimes I've been through phases of life where I've traveled a lot, and you get stuck at airports and train stations and bus stations, or get stuck in towns where you can't get the ride with the people or the friends or the family, and you end up, it's kind of, you're stuck, like, well, what should I do? I'll make sure I've got water, make sure I'm brushing my teeth, make sure I'm getting sleep, make sure I'm getting rest, make sure that I'm just taking care of the tiny details. Like, what it's like, for example, if you have to sit around and wait at an airport for 4 hours before your flight, and you don't have an option, so you're just like, well, okay, I'm going to take a nap for 20 minutes. I'm going to save the battery on my phone for half an hour so I can have 10 minutes on my phone in about an hour from now. And then I'm going to go take a walk around the lobby. I know I'm going to have to give up my seat and carry my luggage, but that's okay. I've got to do lots of tiny detail things to take care of the actual business of the moment in terms of the minute details. And so you just have to do that. It's literally just minding your own business and doing it in a very thoughtful, conscientious, responsible way so that you get through this episode. Okay, what's the problem here? Okay, it looks to me like you're really itching to get out there and live your life and kind of get on with it and really strut your stuff, get your body, mind, heart, and soul stuck into life where you can really exercise your strength, your gifts, your talents, your resources, your ambitions, your desires, your goals, your destiny. But of course, we're kind of at a pause right now. Okay, remember, Pluto is retrograde for 5 months. Mercury is retrograde for at least another 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or so. Okay. Alright, so it's understandable. This looks like extreme frustration, almost like, oh my God, how much longer? Like, oh my God, I just want to get on with my life. I'm really good at who I am and doing what I do and how I do it. You already know that, Jeffrey. You're like probably one of the youngest people on this channel, but you have a business aptitude and maturity that is way beyond your years. Okay? And that's just how it is. And that's why I believe you're comfortable hanging out with us. Alright, let's have a look here. How are we going to deal with this? Okay, so I think the way to handle things going forward is having kind of a very sensible, mature, sober, stable perspective where you understand that there is the energy of teamwork here, where, like it or not, in order for you to proceed, it is sort of like having a team. And that part of that includes approvals from whoever these people are who have to, go through the certification process for you to get into business so you can actually exercise your gifts and talents and resources. So it is a team effort. Like, when you go into a restaurant, a small family business or a restaurant or something, and you look on the wall, they always have to have these little certificates and framed things in very clear sight of the public that shows that they've got their certifications and their permits. So it is like a kind of a team effort, okay? You need them and they need you. They collect taxes from you. You do your work. And eventually, I think going forward, with the Three of Pentacles here, it looks like, please know and trust and understand that things are look like they're going to be okay. It's just a question of long-term endurance, and then understanding that the people on this certification board, they're actually part of the team. Even though running the business is nothing to do with them, like you can have employees or staff or a crew or business partners or something, you've got customers, and there's a business and a whole life. But the reality is you can't operate a business legitimately in the right kind of context without the whole team. And the team does include this tedious phenomenon of having to go through the approval process, government, state, local approvals for licensing and all that. So in essence, they're part of a team. You need to have them on your side. You need them as almost like their business partners. And they would need you. The reason they need you is because of collecting taxes. So there you go. All right, now, let's have a look. Jeffrey, I hope that made sense for you. To me, it looks like you don't have a lot of options right now except to relax, take your time, take care of business, understand you're going to be okay, but it is a long-term approach. It does involve team effort. Like, let's say once you get certified, you can proudly and display that in your place of business, and then you're good to go. And then you can build your team, build a business, and so on. All right? All right, people. I need a little top up on my beverage. I need to shuffle up some cards, and then we're going to keep rolling. Let's move over here a second. So Melissa, you're up. I'm going to scroll back to the chat very quickly to see if I missed something. I think you came in really early. Oops, hold on. Where am I? Oh God, hold on. What am I doing here? Where is it? Okay. Destiny. Okay, I see it. I found the notes there. Okay. Destiny reading for Melissa. Wow. It's very rare that I get asked for that, but I do offer it. Thank you. Hey, you know what, Melissa? I don't have a perfect memory, but if I recall, were you the person we did, was it last week or the week before we did a reading? Are you the person who is going through a medical certification in some way right now? Why am I asking that? Why am I thinking that? Am I totally out of whack here? But you were getting... Destiny? Sorry. Melissa. I know we worked together. It was either last week or the week before, and it was something to do about graduating from something. Maybe it was some kind of medical qualification. I can't remember. If I'm connecting dots correctly, would you please remind me so I have a better understanding? I just want to kind of clear that up in my own head, because I know we've worked together before several times. Okay? Let's have a look. So I'm going to keep an eye on the chat while I am shuffling, okay? Let's go over here, and I'm going to da 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 da. Got it. Melissa, now I remember. Yeah, I think we were kind of joking around. Looking back, you've got no clue how you finished grad school, okay? Yeah, school takes up huge amounts of time and energy. So yeah, so the PA, that's the physician's assistant. And you wrote, you typed in this joke on the chat about something else, physician's assistant or something alternative, but you said in the joke, like, what was it? Hold on. It was something like, well, if I go this way or if I go that way, either way, it's a lot of sutures. You were gonna, I think because you were going into physician's assistant for surgery. Okay, something like that. Okay. Anyway, congratulations, Melissa. I'm sure you're going to be a very fine PA. I used to work in movies and TV for 20 years. A PA stands for a production assistant. So that means somebody who does anything and goes anywhere and whatever the boss tells them to do. That's a production assistant, okay? But for you, it's a physician's assistant. Now, in my experience, physician's assistant does a lot of stuff that the actual physicians and the doctors do. But a lot of them are pressed for time, so you pick it up from there. But it still means you have to go through a lot of training and certification. Okay? All right. So, let's have a look. I think you were here quite early, Melissa, so you probably heard me ranting on about the eclipses and global finances and stuff like that. But ER or surgery, yeah, either way, a lot of sutures. So, yeah. What I'm noting, by the way, before I get to your reading, okay, Melissa, hold on. What I've noticed is that I've changed a lot since I started doing this channel like four and a half years ago or something. Because I spent huge amounts of time on the channel, probably like 50, 55 hours, 60 hours a week on the channel, trying to get it out there. But I had a major burnout, and my channel was also heavily flagged for being like a sex cult leader and taking money from people and storing women in my basement and using them as sex slaves and things like that. Of course, it's not really my thing. But anyway, it did a lot of damage to the channel, and I've talked about this many times, and it's very old news, but it's still a very deep wound, and I'm deeply scarred, and I'm trying to recover. And then it's like, what was it? I guess what I was trying to say is that I used to focus so much on the personal stuff. That's mostly, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Okay? That's traditional Western astrology at the very personal level. That's where you do your monthly reports for Sun, Moon, and Rising. All the 12 signs, all laid out. 24 videos per month, and then the shows, and then all the private readings. And I got completely burned out. And what I've learned over time is that my true soul interest is for planet Earth itself, for humanity itself. And it's not an insult to the individual people. There's 7.5 billion people out there. I can't do readings for everybody, but I am very concerned about humanity itself and the condition of planet Earth and humanity. And that's where I really, really feel it. And that's why that's another reason why the channel has changed so much, where I really, by far my biggest lens of attention now is on global affairs. So I'm concerned about global finances, global politics, global dynamics, and all of that. But it probably leaves individual viewers feeling like they've been neglected or abandoned. I don't mean to do that. It's just that I feel stronger and more comfortable and more natural in the field where I'm working now. It's just I'm finding it much harder to bring it into a viable, useful, valuable presentation at the scale that it needs to be. Because I can talk around in circles forever about global finances and the eclipses and, the Pluto cycles and everything like that. But most people want to know, like, well, what about me? How does this affect me? What's going on in my life? I need a tarot reading for me. I need astrology for me. And so all I can say is that if you're feeling that connection, if you've got a connection with me and you feel like you could get something. I still do private personal readings. I love doing them, by the way, but they have to be booked. You have to go to tarotlumination.com. You schedule it, pay for it, just like you do for readings here online and so on. And what happens then is I take the mass energy on the global scale and I can condense it down into a personal level. So I still do that, but I don't make it my primary focus anymore. It's just that I used to pay all my bills and all my whole life was paid for through my channel, and it's not happening anymore. So I don't really know what to do, but I don't want to force myself to funnel my energy into something where it doesn't feel appropriate. So I'm not letting people down. I'm not trying to ignore anybody or escape the work. It's just that I feel that I have a purpose to focus on the big picture. And then if we have to crush that down to the individual, we can do that. Okay? Let's have a look. Oh my gosh, you guys. I see you guys, what you're talking about in the chat. It's okay. Remember, I've got this channel set. I've gone through all the filters with YouTube. I have to go through these, filters to make sure that the channel can stay alive. And this channel is not permitted for kids, okay? So you guys chat about what you want. Okie dokie. Anyway, okay. Melissa, let's get on with it. It's time for your reading. Look at Lorraine Tomasic. I'm old school. Mexican dirtweed. Low-dose cannabis is actually more popular than I thought, to be honest. Huh, interesting. Hank Hill, it is a realm. It's true. Lorraine, it is true. From my perspective, I've been studying astrology as an amateur since I was a kid. And to date, nothing tops planet Earth. I've seen no reasonable concrete evidence that there's anywhere else out there in the universe or in the perceptible universe that comes close to planet Earth in terms of the things that happen here. We have this stuff called water. We have this stuff that we call life. And, you know, I know there's water out there in the universe, in the solar system, on a few asteroids and comets. But to get it all hooked up and have what happens here on Earth, there is nothing that comes close. Thank you for understanding that. Hello, Heather, over there in British Columbia. Planet Earth is just a freaking mind-boggling place. All right, cards are very well shuffled now. Let's get Melissa her reading. Excuse me, my eyes are like getting sore. Oh my goodness. I hope my voice holds up. Please forgive me. I'm starting to feel a little bit fragile out there. All right, Melissa, what kind of messages do we have here for you tonight? I'm glad you're kind of a jovial, positive type, and you've got youth on your side, and you have a so-called future. Here's the... Wait a minute, I didn't cut it. Let me do another cut, okay? Let's do this. All right. There we go. All right, Melissa, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at the external influences. Hint, hint, the planets. Okay. Shh, don't tell anybody. We have the star card. It's a beautiful card. It's very much to do with the Aquarian energy. Someone's got to do it. In some way, Aquarian energy is very much about the humanitarian volunteer. They just show up and do what has to be done with no expectation of reward or approvals or signs of appreciation or achievement. It's just doing what has to be done. Carrying the energy of spirit where it has to go. So, Melissa, my feeling with the star card here is that what the planets are communicating, remember there's a very, the way I see it, there's a very strong Uranian theme right now. I relate this very closely to planet Uranus, and because it's such a powerful influence at the moment, because look at this. Uranus is right here, right next to the sun, right next to the north node, okay, in Taurus. So it's extremely hyper-condensed energy about planet Earth, about doing what is right for planet Earth right now. The sun is lighting it up extremely powerfully on the north node. Humanity needs to do what is right for planet Earth right now. Not for itself, but what is right for planet Earth. Because if we don't do what is right for planet Earth, it doesn't matter we're all toast. We end up disintegrated, just shriveled up, decomposing mess. And I have a feeling there's a lot of human beings who don't want to do that. The people at the very, very top of the global empire, they don't want to do that because they benefit by degradation of Earth. Okay? And there's a lot of people at the very bottom of the pyramid of power who have no say in the matter. They are essentially like human waste. They are like expendable humans. They are like the 2 billion human beings that essentially have no worth or no value to the apex predators at the top. That's just the sad reality. And the way I see this chart with this energy of hope for humanity, someone has to do it. Even though there are some very scary things happening on planet Earth right now, somebody has to symbolize hope for the future. Live as if everything is just fine and humanity is going to be fine. And that, I don't want to call it a burden, but that, let's just say that responsibility is laying heavily on you, Melissa. So it might sound like a very strange way to start a reading, but that's what I'm feeling. For you, Melissa, let's say you get through all this and you get out there in the workplace and you're a fully operational physician's assistant. Someone's got to do it. And from the people who receive your energy, in other words, the doctors and the clinics that enjoy the benefit of your presence, and the patients that you take care of who benefit from your presence, that symbolizes microdoses of hope for humanity, one person at a time, one dose at a time. So I think this relates very closely to you. You might not see it that way, but it is having kind of like a little halo where you are a representation of hope for humanity. And that is actually your real life job description. Okay? It's not going to show up on your badge or anything, like you're going to have to wear your scrubs or whatever. It won't show up that way, but the hidden message of your badge, once you get all certified and qualified, is that, hello, I symbolize hope for humanity. Hello. I know that sounds like some kind of hardcore, scary, ultra left-wing communist, fake agenda group, but no, this is sincere. The way I see it is like, hello, there's your badge. It's right here. It says Melissa Lawrence, PA. I represent hope for humanity. Hello, how can I help you today? Does that make sense? You have Uranus in Aquarius, really? Oh, that's interesting. Aquarius, the ruling planet for Aquarius is Uranus. So you must have a strong Aquarian streak. Oh, wow, this is so cool. You remember earlier with Precious, we had this really, really, like almost tragic reading? Sorry, Precious, if you're still out there, but it really is kind of tragic. There is hope, okay? Melissa's here, all right? Melissa, if you have... Can I ask a big favor of you, please, Melissa? This is deliberate. I know you don't know her, but you're in healthcare. You're going to be in healthcare. Precious is in healthcare. Precious is in deep, deep distress right now. Can I ask, please, a big favor? Would you connect with her directly by email and pass on some of your hope for humanity? Okay? Give me a second. See this email here? This is the email address for Precious Moments. We did Precious Moments reading way earlier in the show. Okay? This is her email. trinityann_2@hotmail.com. Please, Melissa, with your young, vibrant Aquarian themes here, please, I'm asking a favor, would you reach out to Precious and extend your energy to let her know that there is hope, okay? Thank you very much. All right, let's have a look. What's the situation? So we got the Page of Cups here. I see this as sweet innocence, in that it's probably the best profile that you could possibly have for being an ambassador of hope for humanity. To me, this looks like this is a really very important message for you, Melissa. Like this is a badge of honor that you need to carry and wear for life. If you think of yourself, I, Melissa Lawrence, I am an ambassador for hope for humanity. However, with the Page of Cups, please everybody understand that I'm starting from scratch and there's still an awful lot to learn about how the process actually works, okay? What it's really about is how to let's call it energy healing, okay? With the little tiny Page of Cups here, that cup contains the healing power of love. The question is, what does that really look like? Well, from my perspective, because I've gone through all of this, okay? I never got certified. I can't go around showing people my certificates or anything. But to me, this symbolizes the healing power of love. And what I feel for you, Melissa, is that you're doing your version of this. And I want to show you, rather than talk about this for 10 minutes, I just want to illustrate this. It's so much easier if I just show you the pictures. Okay? Here's an illustration of a healer doing energy healing, basically transmitting the healing power of love. The lady on top is a professional energy healer. The lady on the bench is receiving energy healing. The two entities to the sides of the healer are spirits. They are basically there to facilitate the healing power of love, to work through the energy healer, okay? So what I feel here is that you are learning about your own version of this. It's like this is already your setting for life. Like you're already a healer in a professional sense. They call it a physician's assistant, and you get certified. But what it really is about is transmitting the healing power of love to those who need it. And you're at the early stages of the process. That's all. Thank you, Melissa. I see that. Melissa Lawrence always says, I was considering doing acting on the side and seeing where it goes while I'm still in undergrad or starting a Twitch channel and talking to the community playing games. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hey, Melissa. So I've kind of done the acting thing, but I'm not rich and I'm not famous, as you can tell. I have been in several movies. I had a leading role in a couple of very small independent films. One of them won first place in a film festival in Europe. I'm very, very proud of that. And there's another one which won some kind of award for another indie film. I was very, very proud of that. It was actually a silent movie. It had music and sound, but all the acting was done through action. So it really draws you in to watch the movie because the whole story is told through action. There's no dialogue. Okay. So if you're going to go into acting, have fun. That's the most important thing, is to have fun. Take care, Jeffrey. See ya, man. Hank Hill is an energy healer. Yay! So you know what I'm talking about. Thanks, Hank. All right, Melissa, let's keep going. So what's the problem here? You seem so imbued with love, the ability to transmit the healing power of love, and the desire to transmit the healing power of love, and to actually, be kind of an ambassador for hope for humanity. That's great. And you seem to have a good attitude, like, well, what am I going to do in the meantime while I'm waiting? Fine, okay, acting, why not? Let's have a look. What are the problems here, if any? Okay, so with Cups energy, again, multiplied, amplified many, many times here in the Queen of Cups. My feeling here is that this is, sometimes when I see this Queen of Cups card, I get that Lady Diana vibe. I don't know if you remember any stories about Lady Diana, Melissa, but she's like a very famous character from the 80s. She was the wife and girlfriend of a guy called Prince Charles over in England, and she had a couple of kids who are now grown, and they're very, very famous. They're part of British royalty. But the thing about Lady Diana is that she had so much love, so much compassion, such a massive global stage presence on Earth, and she still didn't know what to do with it all. She was literally the embodiment of an ambassador of the healing power of love, and that's really all she wanted to do. And it was all with the best of intentions, and of course she had a very tragic ending, okay? And so when I see this energy here for you in the center, to me it feels like deep inside of you there's this kind of nagging doubt that you will ever achieve the level of, let's say, professionalism or the capacity to be this ambassador of love and healing, to be this professional in a way that your full capacity to be an instrument of the healing power of love can actually manifest. Okay? I understand that. Let me say here. So, I know I'm kind of talking around in circles about this, but when I see the Queen of Cups there for you, my feeling is that you already know that you have a place in this world, that you have a great capacity to, let's say, extend hope, extend love, be an ambassador for the healing power of love. You already know that. But you also know that you're like in the early stages of growing into this in terms of a physical human being. Like your soul is already there, but what does this look like in a three-dimensional life? Oh, am I going to do acting in the meantime? Or are you going to be married and have kids? Or what's your personal life going to be like? Or where are you going to live? What's the rest of your life going to look like? But the big question is, like, what am I supposed to do with all of this? Because you might have noticed that a lot of humanity is either not ready, not willing, or not open or able to receive the healing power of love. Like, you can have all the best of loving intentions in the world, but it's futile if the person and the soul on the other end is blocked and they are unable to receive love. You can't force it down somebody like, with a catheter or a tube in the throat or a IV or whatever it's called. And so it becomes a real problem. Like people who are professionally compassionate by nature, you reach a point where like there's only so much you can do. You can't help people who don't want to be helped. And that can be very sad. That can be very confusing. Can be very, very heartbreaking. Why would someone refuse to receive the healing power of love? Well, that's not your business. And so that's something that's hard to learn. But to me it feels like these are the things that I'm talking about are very kind of amorphous and big picture stuff, and you'll figure this out as you go along. I don't see a lot of problems here or anything. It's just like understanding how the healing power of love actually works as an energy field. How do you manage it? I call it energy management. How exactly do you manage that energy? Okay? Okay. No stress. So what are we going to do about this? Okay, so dear Melissa, with the 13 card here, this is the death card. This is the card of transformation. This is kind of like the Tower. It's one of the most powerful healing cards in the deck. Now, so the thing is that this is very much to do with Pluto energy. And Pluto energy is all about elimination, destruction, obliteration of anything and everything that is obsolete and redundant, so that fertile ground can be created and new growth, new life. But it means the death of the old. And the way I feel that the death card connects to this is that you are going to learn as you go. It's almost you're going to be like on a day-to-day practice. Like when you administer healing, when you are a physician's assistant, let's say you're qualified, and you are administering your skills on this channel, it would be like you're an ambassador of hope for humanity. And in the closer sense, you're actually helping the healing power of love to flow into that person from up above. What's actually happening is transformation. Healing is transformation. You're taking old, stuck, rotten, confused, contaminated, perverted, distorted energy, and you're infusing it with the healing power of love and turning it into something new. And that's something new. Like sometimes, okay, Melissa, I'm going to share something fairly amorphously here. I've been nearly dead quite a few times. I've been left for dead quite a few times. And then I'm still here. Look at that. Wow. And when you go through these experiences where you're basically, you're just a piece of meat that's going to go rotten, but you reconfigure, that's a form of transformation. That's a very powerful Pluto kind of energy. It's a Pluto energy of death and transformation. If you think of like the energy of a forest or something, where you have these rich, abundant trees, they live their life and then they die. And then they turn into fertilizer, and it's this rich, putrid stuff at the bottom that provides fuel for new life. So death is the precursor to birth and life. And so when you're, let's say, administering, when you are in a professional environment, just living your everyday life, doing what you do, let's say you're already certified now and you're out there in the workplace, you've done a bit of acting, you've had some fun, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. But in the end, you have this thing called a day job, which is a physician's assistant, okay? Let's say you do that. In order to go forward in a way that makes sense, so that you aren't left with these huge questions like, what am I going to do? So you have to understand that you are changing. When you are bringing hope for humanity, what you're doing is you're actually changing people. You're transforming them. That's what transformation is. It's the caterpillar into the chrysalis into the butterfly. The chrysalis is the transformation phase in the middle. So what happens is you actually transform people. And let's say it's almost like a production line. The person that you treat is a different person when they come out the other side. After you work with them, after they work with you. And that's a very powerful energy. You have to understand that if, let's say you are this person, you have these qualifications, these skills. To me, the way I look at it, it's a very high-powered kind of skill and energy to have. And it's really important to understand what's happening. And it's transformation. You're taking sickness, turning garbage. Okay, here's another way to look at it. The death card, sometimes to me, it means turning garbage into gold. It's like what they do at sewage refinery plants, where they take all the wastewater from a city. Like over in Las Vegas, they have a huge wastewater plant in the southeast corner on the Las Vegas Wash. And the water is recycled and treated, and it comes out the other side as very high quality drinking water, if you can believe that. It's freaking mind-boggling. But that's how the process works. It's transformation. And it uses the power of the sun, by the way. So there you go. So it's a very powerful thing, gift to have. And I guess the message of the reading is that it's important to know that you have this gift, that you have this responsibility, that you're going to be wearing this badge. And there's a lot that comes with it. Not everybody will understand, but you are a transformer. You're taking disease and turning it into health. You're taking someone who is not in great condition and helping them come back into better condition. That's healing. That's transformational healing. I hope that helps you, Melissa. You're going to be fine. Lesieli, I hope you're still here. I think you're over in California, so you're on the same time zone as Terra Lumination. I didn't see any notes, Lesieli. Are you still here? Lorraine. Oh, Lorraine. If you want, Lorraine, I just saw your note there. Lorraine, if you want to reach out to Precious, this is her email. I'm pretty certain that she has a smartphone, and when it's working, apparently it's not very reliable, but she does receive email on her phone. This is her email. If you want to reach out, Lorraine, I can tell you Precious needs every bit of help she can get right now. This is her email. TrinityAnn_2@hotmail.com. Okay? Thanks, Lorraine. Lesieli, you're up. You still here? It's very late. We've been going for a long time. Did a lot more readings than I normally do. But I am grateful. I'm very grateful. Oh, Hank Hill, man, you know about this stuff, man. Wow, that's really cool. I just saw your notes there. Hank, I'm sure, I can see, Hank, that you know what we're talking about. Thanks, Hank. Lesieli, where are you? Are you still there? There you are. Thank you, Lesieli. I can't remember if you had any notes for me. This is going to be the last reading of the evening, folks. Thank you all for being here. I know it's very late for a lot of you, so do what you got to do, but I'm going to be working here with Lesieli for a little while longer. If I recall, you're over there in Southern California. All right. I'm perfectly happy to do a blind reading for you, but if you have a particular subject, like, for example, Lesieli, what kind of messages does Terra Lumination have tonight with the cards on the subject of ... That could be, finance, career, destiny that we had earlier with somebody in one of the other readings. And how does love look for you? Okay, fine. So I'm going to take that broadly. That could be romantic love. That could be like deep soulmate love, where it's more about like, twin flame type friendships. But there's also, where it's deep love and appreciation like friendships. There's also the love of a person to the child, like a mother to a child, and so on. There's also this twin flame kind of love, where sometimes things are very challenging, very difficult for the love dynamic, but both parties are learning tremendous lessons and experiencing huge growth in the process. So love has many different interpretations and understandings for many, many people. For some people, love translates into lust. For some people, love translates into cuddles and affection. For some people, love translates into giving, and so on. Alright, cards are well shuffled, but we're going to go to the very last second again, so that you're a witness. I don't do reversals, I don't do jumpers and flyers. Don't worry about it. Ignore that card, okay? Lorraine, you crack me up. You are certainly the Joker tonight. All right, Les Yelly. What kind of messages do we have here for you tonight? I think we've done a reading about this before, haven't we? Be as the person I like. It's been hard. It might be one of those karmic things. Like Les Yelly, for example. I've done thousands of readings for people. And I used to do these whole, sections on my channel just for love and relationship. And I would use my crucible spread and things like that. And you can find out so many things. Sometimes people are drawn into what they perceive as a love relationship. In other words, there could be a very deep attraction from yourself to another, or from someone to yourself, or it's mutual. You're both magnetically attracted to each other. But sometimes just because the magnetism is strong, it doesn't mean it's going to be fun or delicious or easy. Sometimes the magnetism, it almost feels like you can't control it, and it can be very frightening. Lorraine was kind of joking up there, but look at the Johnny and Amber situation. I have a dear friend who did some pretty deep astrology on the Johnny and Amber situation, and she, in a nutshell, she conveyed notes to me that indicated that this was a very tragic couple, and that violence was a definite hallmark of the relationship. And yet, at the early stages, it felt like love. I'm not saying this applies to you, Les Yelly, but sometimes when people are drawn together, it's what you could call a learning relationship, where you have all of your evolved aspects of your nature here, the good, sweet side of yourself, and they have all the good, sweet side of themselves. And yet each of us have these components that are unevolved. These are the parts of ourselves that we don't really know yet, that we're trying to learn about and take ownership. So the only way we can do that is in the context of relationship, preferably a loving relationship. Okay? And so a lot of people are drawn together for so many different reasons. Some people are like together like, we're going to get married. We're going to have 3 kids. I am the responsible male money earner. I will protect and provide. My word is law. But I love you. If you've got a problem, come and talk to me. I'm not going to hit you. There's that kind of dad, and there's the kind of mother that is, I love you very much, my dear child, and I will do anything I have to do to raise you to the best of my abilities. But do not mess with me. So there's that kind of love relationship. And then there's the stuff of like movie drama stuff where people are just sucked into each other's orb in a totally almost like chaotic mess. But either way, these are all different, categories of relationship, and a lot of them come under the subject of loving relationships. So if you've got this very strong connection between yourself and B, but it's hard, I can pretty much guarantee that if I did a full-blown astrological analysis of your situation, we would find the trouble spots. We would find out exactly where the trouble spots are, how and why you may be attracted, and what is the purpose and the meaning of the relationship. Like sometimes people who have extremely magnetic relationships find it very hard to step back and give each other their space and their privacy and their sovereignty of self. And then things can get very convoluted and confusing, and people get lost, okay? Hello, Sarah. All right, sorry, I got distracted. Leslie, I'm going to get back to your reading. I got a little bit distracted. I'm sorry. What I was trying to convey is that love has so many different variations and understandings for so many different people. Now, you're talking about one specific person, and if it's the same person we were dealing with last time, and there's still some tensions and difficulties, things that are not resolved, things that aren't working, well, at least you're aware of that. And it makes perfect sense to want to inquire about the nature of the situation. Okay, so I'm going to cut it up. I'm going to make this a very extreme cut. Okay, Leslie, because I really want to kind of get to the root of things as much as possible. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Now, I'm doing this situational spread, which is my diagnostic tool, in the context of the relationship love thing, okay? Okay. With the Temperance card is here as a surrounding influence. So my feeling is that what's really going on here is that it's something to do with healing. The healing of yourself, or the healing of B, or the healing of yourselves through each other. I know that doesn't maybe help you in terms of the romantic side of things, but it requires immense patience. In other words, in order to extract the value of the situation, if you know that you are attracted to this B and this B is attracted to you, and yet there's something not working about it, then there's reasons for that. And the reasons are to do with aspects of yourself that can only be resolved through the relationship dynamic. Even if the relationship does not even come to fruition, it's learning about yourself, parts of yourself that need to be healed, that you can only learn and understand through a connection with another person. In fact, in love relationships, one of the most valuable components of the love relationship is reflection. Sometimes people, like with twin flame, for example, sometimes those are very, very hard relationships to handle. But they can be extremely rewarding because of the learning experience. Like what you learn from your relationship with this person, what they learn from their relationship with you. You feel like there's this like irresistible thing that is there and it doesn't seem to make any sense at all. And how do you deal with it? What's happening is, let's say, the magnetic forces of nature draw certain people together so that you can learn about you. But it can only happen through the willing participation of another soul. And it just happens that there are enough coincidental frequencies that they can only learn what they want to learn about themselves through connection with you. And so you get this irresistible magnetism, which at the same time can be very repulsive. Because when you start to get that close, what happens is each party starts to recognize the parts in themselves that they don't like about themselves, that they could only recognize through the process of reflection provided by the other party. It's kind of like having a situation where you have to be very courageous to hold a mirror up to the other person at the same time that they hold a mirror up to you, so that you really see who you are and how you are being and why you are being the way you are and how you are. And at the same time, they are learning the same thing too. And sometimes it is not pretty. And sometimes those relationships are called twin flame because it's such a powerful connection, but it feels almost like it's out of your control, and yet there's some drive to learn to be together. Like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing is a very classic example, and it's being played out on the global stage. But these things happen outside of Hollywood as well. Now, in your situation, it might be very, very one-sided. Like you might be very interested in B, but they're not like maybe they're not clicking with you because they don't understand it. On the other hand, with you being drawn to that person, you know that there are things about yourself that you need to know about yourself that can only be learned in the context of this other person. And it sounds like vanity, extreme vanity, but it's not. It's just a natural human desire to be your most complete self. And it's very, very hard to do that in solitary confinement. Like we need other human beings in order to evolve. What's the situation itself? Like you could be very healing to them, they could be very healing to you. Maybe the relationship itself is about mutual healing, but we don't know that yet. What's the situation? Okay, so we have a Knight of Wands here. Maybe this is wishful thinking. Maybe there's this deep hope for you that this person would behave like a Knight of Wands, someone who's very, very, let's say, I would say traditional, courageous, chivalrous, magnanimous, very, very well intended. And that's what you would like to receive. Now, I don't know, have you ever heard that saying like, give that which you wish to receive? Be loving, be loved. If you want like courageous, magnanimous, generous, strong reciprocation, then it would require yourself being willing to offer that. For example, I'm doing a bit of like theater and acting. Let's just act it out right now. Let's say you've still got this concern, but it's also been hard for you. And when I see the Knight of Wands here, it makes me feel like it's time to step up the game for you, where you basically take full responsibility for the situation. And instead of wondering and worrying and getting like, what's going on here? Like, why doesn't he do this? Or why don't I? Like, what is it? Instead, you kind of have a complete, you know what? Hey, B, come here. We need to talk. Actually, we don't need to talk. You just need to listen. I don't want to mess around wasting my energy on you. I don't want you to waste your energy on me. You know I have feelings for you. I just want what's best, okay? I can't help who I am. For some reason, I'm attracted to you. For some reason, it feels very difficult for us to function as if you are not attracted to me. And yet, here you are listening. So, in other words, it's like, I am here, I'm Lesieli, I'm bearing my heart, I'm bearing my soul. I'm just basically saying, here I am. This is me, okay? You already know that I feel this, and this about you. And from here on, I release you. I want you to know that however you feel, whoever you are, whatever you want, there's no obligation anymore. I release you. I just want to let you know from my heart that I'm willing to put it all out there. Okay? I just want you to know that. So, Lesieli, the reason I'm saying that, the reason I'm feeling that is that it kind of lets you off the hook. And the thing is that it takes tremendous courage to behave that way. So instead of wandering around and pondering and trying to understand things through, guessing, instead you throw caution to the wind and you say, you know what? I just want to come right out there, put myself out. I know this is a very masculine card, but to me, in your situation, to me it looks like being courageous enough to put yourself on the line, okay? Like, to put yourself on the line. Like, you can say whatever you want, however you want to say it. And then qualify your actions by saying, it's like, I just need clarity. I'm not going to hold you to anything. I'm just trying to learn and grow and live my life. You just be who you are. Okay? But it just takes a lot of guts to do that. It just takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there completely. Like, if you don't love me, that's okay. I'll deal with it. If you do love me, I wouldn't mind a little bit of reciprocation. I'm here to heal. I'm here to be healed. So, there you go. Right? Now, what's the problem with that approach? Okay, to me this looks like a double kind of situation here where it's almost like you wish you could release yourself from, I guess, it's not like you're trapped or anything, but like when you have very strong feelings for somebody and it's not reciprocated in a way that feels appropriate or like it's a match, even though you're willing to put it all out there and to share, even though you would love to receive this kind of energy from having already put it out there, doesn't mean you're going to get it. And so To me, it feels like with this card of, it's kind of redemption here. It's almost like, it's like a, please release me from, it's almost like, I wish I could release myself from the expectations of being loved by someone who's courageously willing to love me the way I would courageously want to love another. And when that's not happening, but the expectation is there, and you're not receiving what you expect, then it can be extremely frustrating, very, very hard, in which case, deep down, there is this fear like, oh my God, I wish I could just release myself or let myself go from this and be free of the expectations. But then, when you say, please release me from my expectations, then you might feel, oh my God, how am I going to exist in a vacuum, in a life, in a world without love, where I don't seem to love anybody and nobody seems to love me? Okay, so sometimes people are more terrified of the vacuum of emptiness where there is nobody and nothing and no apparent love. In other words, it's almost like some people would rather have a shitty relationship than no relationship. I don't know if you've ever been through any kind of relationship or marriage counseling. That's a very common theme, where the marriage counselor or the relationship counselor would say something like that, like, you have to understand that sometimes you're better off without a relationship or without the relationship at all. But some people can't handle it. They can't function without the sensation or feeling that they have a relationship, because they are so immersed in the process of mirroring. Like, they don't know who they are without the mirror of the other person. Even if the dynamics are full of conflict, at least it feels like there's life in a relationship, even though it might be unhealthy or toxic. So there's a lot of learning to go on there. Okay, so let's keep going. So deep down, whether you know it or not, there might be a part of you which is asking to be released, to be freed from the expectations. On the other hand, the other part is like, oh my God, if I release myself from the expectations of love in this relationship, then I have to face the vacuum of life or world without that particular character or that particular expectation. Okay? Let's have a look. How do we go forward here? Okay, with the Ace of Wands here, this is a really powerful card of freaking go for it. Like, what have you got to lose? You might as well give it everything you've got. Lay it all on the line right here, passionate. You know, like, okay, this is going to sound really strange, okay? But there's cultures and societal norms and religious codes that forbid women behaving in a certain way, where the woman kind of takes the lead in a relationship. There are certain cultures which allow for that. There's also this culture where the male cannot handle the idea that like a female has so much power over the male, where they are in charge. Where, let's just say, how can I explain this? I mean, I'm making certain presumptions here that this is a male-female relationship and that there is a sexual component or desire for sexual fulfillment or something like that. So with the Ace of Wands here, if there is that side of the relationship, because there is such a thing called sexual healing, where people can provide a tremendous amount of healing to each other through sexual congress. It's an incredibly powerful phenomenon. But a lot of people are terrified of the energy field because it's so powerful. And a lot of people don't want to feel, they're too scared to submit to the process. And when I see the Ace of Wands here, that's very masculine energy. When I see the Knight of Wands there, that's also very masculine energy. And if that's, going back to very, very beginning of the reading, if that's what you would wish to have come towards you, it's almost like, then you have to put that out there. So it means almost like taking a huge risk where these situations happen, where the woman comes on very directly, very strong to the male, and basically says, I love you, and we're going to do this. And sometimes the men are like, I can't handle it. I'm the guy. I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to be the one who's going to ravage you in lust and take you away into a land of dreams. Bubba. Okay, I have to, sorry. I'm not saying you have to dress up and be the guy. All I'm suggesting with this reading is that you might be dealing with someone who might be very reluctant to come forward in the classic male manner, where they come onto you and they hunt you down like a predator and they ravage you in like a romantic, lustful, romance novel. So I don't know the inner workings, but with that Wands energy, it looks to me like there's a deep need to find some kind of resolution to this. Get in on it, and just like throw all the nuances aside, and basically it's like, let's do this. I've got the hots for you. Let's do this. And if it's done right, there are some guys who are going to say, you know what? Okay. Even though they understand the dynamics, because it's like the gender energy is reversed. But that's what the story is here. It looks to me like you have a libido, which is a sex drive, and it needs to be addressed, it needs to be answered. And you have a right to do that. You have a right to go for it. It's almost like saying, go for it. What have you got to lose? Okay, so what? So what if you've got the hots for somebody and they're kind of like, and then you get to the point where I can't take this anymore. Listen, we're going to do this, and you're not going to regret it. I mean, it sounds like I'm talking out of a movie or something, but it's almost like you have to subdue the person rather than wait for them to subdue you. Anyway, there you go. There's your reading. I hope that helps you, Leslie. All right, dear people, we've been going a long time. We've had a lot of readings. Thank you all very much. I got to take care of the kitty cats. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for staying. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, your patience, and the entertaining chats. All that entertaining stuff. I just want to do a very, very quick shuffle to clear this out, because I have to wrap up the whole show here now and then reformat everything again, okay? So I'm going to make a very quick exit, people. Just going to take care of everybody. If you need anything, get in touch, okay? Let me go back here. Here's the Tarot Illumination email, okay? A little book about at yahoo.com. If you need anything, go to tarotillumination.com. Connect with me there, okay? Thank you all. I've done the best I can for tonight. I hope the people who said they're going to connect with each other, especially with Precious. She needs a lot of help and support right now. Go for it. Thank you all very much, everybody. I'm going to wrap it out here and have fun.